Next on the Broadway show, Circus comes to town. You're going to meet the stars of the new musical Water for Elephants. Plus, she's a classic character, but one of the new faces in the hallowed halls of Hogwarts. I'm catching up with Broadway's new Hermione, Cara Ricketts. I'm Tamsin Fidel, and this is the Broadway show. Broadway's biggest stars and shows are right here on the Broadway show. I'm Tamsin Fidel. Let's get going. It's time to go into the big top. Water for Elephants, now on Broadway. Let's send it out to Paul Wontorek.
This story first chanted readers, right? It became a bestseller, and then the movie. They're like really great, beautiful characters, and I think that Jacob, Marlena, and August is like kind of a love triangle for the ages, isn't it? Which is why I wanted to bring you all together.
Yeah, getting to be in the middle of these two lads is very exciting for me personally.
We were just saying, really, this is the real
love story though.
here, but
I feel like I get in the way of their love story,
true.
frankly.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of tension. There's sort of good and evil, beautiful woman in the middle. It's very classic elements, right? Is it fun to dig into those? You're looking at me kind of funny.
No,
Are you enjoying getting into the head of August? He's a complicated guy.
He is. A lot of times playing villains can be fun. Sometimes it's not that fun. And August isn't always that fun because he's a pretty cruel man, especially to animals. I just have to find my way into that.
you're still so charming though. It's still like it's. I mean, I'm charmed by Paul no matter what. So
I think that's the whole point of August as a character. The audience has to be charmed by you.
yeah.
We have to love you and be afraid of you at the same time. And I think you toe that line really beautifully.
Yeah.
So what's going on with Marlena and August? Let's sort of set this up a little bit for people.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been in a relationship, right, when Jacob shows up.
They have. So Marlena ran away with the circus when she was 18 years old, and she was about to marry some banker that her parents trotted out for her, which just felt like a death sentence. And she wandered into the menagerie tent at the circus and saw these beautiful horses, and I think it got entranced by them and felt this communion with these animals that she never felt before. And then all of a sudden she turns around and there's this gorgeous man in his ringmaster reds, and he charms her and swoops her off her feet. And I think for a long time they have a really beautiful relationship together before, you know, things start descending into madness, but they become partners. Marlena is the only one that August can relax around. And so because of that, I think their relationship is very special and trusting at first, until, you know, the depression hits and there's no more money and everybody starts losing everything and the purse strings get tight, and then another strapping lad walks into the tent.
Yeah, talk about Jacob a little bit. He has a lot going on in his life. I mean, he's sort of dealt a really tough life, and he jumps on a train basically, right?
Yeah, when we meet Jacob, he's dealing with the loss of both of his parents in a tragic accident at the height of the depression, and there's nothing left for him at home. He was studying to be a vet, to follow in his father's footsteps. Really has no choice but to pick everything up and try somewhere else when he loses his family, and ends up on a train that turns out to be the circus train, and they happen to be looking for a vet. And was not planning on sticking around, but he also, I think, feels when he sees these animals that if he's not going to look out for their best interests, nobody really is as far as their health and well-being. So he decides to stick around for that reason, and then some other reasons present themselves throughout the story.
What I love about this show is it has a lot of elements to it. There's amazing aerial work. It's a mix of Broadway performers and people with real experience doing that. You're actually up. You've learned all kinds of crazy things to do this show.
I get to hop on a trapeze and I'm swinging from there, and I get to do this beautiful lyrical act on it, and it is so much fun. I feel everybody's always asking me, like, are you afraid of the heights? And I'm kind of living my best life up there. It's I think because I have a background in dance, it lends itself to trapeze in a really fun way, and I love it. I just want to keep learning so much more.
The circus aspect of the team of actors is adding an element that I've never seen in a musical, particularly on Broadway. I mean, these people's lives are literally in each other's hands. They're throwing each other 40 feet in the air and catching each other. So there's a real camaraderie that comes to the cast that's even a step up from the normal sense of support.
Grant, what is it like to finally make your Broadway debut with an incredible company like this?
It's exciting. I was, scared to just like that first day of school for rehearsals, just jumping in, and but coming to the theater was less overwhelming than I thought it would be. I mean, it was emotional. I almost cried seeing the front of the theater, but it felt like coming home. I mean, this is what I grew up doing, and I haven't been here in New York for a Broadway show, but it did feel like coming home a bit. So it's scary, but it's exciting, and I mean, it's such a special group.
Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is Broadway's most successful non-musical play and still crushing records at the Lyric Theater. And Cara Ricketts plays Hermione. We had a chance to chat. Have you always been in love with the world of Harry Potter?
No.
No? I like that. I like the honesty.
Even a little bit. My family was.
Okay.
They were all Potterheads, and my boyfriend is. And when he found out that I had booked the part, he immediately got me Hermione's wand. And I was like, this is great. I don't know what it is. Like, there's a lot of learning about the wizarding world, which I love because I'm learning it from the people around me, as opposed to usually if I were to do Shakespeare or something, you're reading the resource materials and you're trying to learn the thing. But here people will whisper things that are super important to them and what it means for them, and then trying to situate that in the world of it. So that's been a nice part of joining the company.
Well, you're on a learning curve along the way, and seeing what ebbs and flows of the audience too, because this is an audience that there's generations now that have grown up with it, moms, kids, and so that's kind of neat to see, and then who they relate to, right?
Absolutely.
As a character.
Absolutely. What I love about the show is I went to see the show in order to learn about the wizarding world, and I was able to keep up with the story because it's so universal. It's about a father and his relationship with his son, a son's relationship with his father in the world being so incredibly famous as Harry Potter. But it was also so much fun to sit with an audience and have people applaud when certain characters show up. And then I'd have to whisper to my boyfriend, like, who is that? So it's nice to feel like almost familial. There's something really cool about a modern classic, which is what this play is, that so many people celebrate it, and they celebrate storytelling, and that's so special.
And especially, it came from a book. It wasn't. It was a movie, yes, but it came from a book, and I think there's something special with that nowadays when we're moving so quickly. That people sat down and they imagined it first, and maybe that's where that depth of character.
And it was also around the time where we were having conversations about how relevant reading was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we were really worried about how image-based we were becoming. Instagram was just taking off, a lot of social media was taking off, and the attention span just seems to be getting shorter and shorter. So to have people fall in love with written word and use their imaginations was spectacular. It's the wizarding world. It's the fact that you can read the book, you can go see the play, and then you can perform it with your class. There's a full exploration of the imagination that hasn't happened in forever, really. You put down, and then you can still also play Harry Potter on your gaming station. So there's still access to it in many different forms, but you can touch base with it in that superhuman way of theater and performance and reading, which is nice.
I went to Universal with my nephew, who was really young at the time, went to the Harry Potter, and I felt like a kid. I feel like a lot of the adults come in there and feel like a kid again, along with their kids.
Yeah, my whole family went. I wasn't able to go, but
It's
they came
very
back.
cool.
It seemed
It's
really
so
great.
cool.
My sister was talking about getting chosen for her wand, and
Oh, wow.
they all came back with chocolate frogs and the
It's
cards.
great.
It was fantastic.
It really is. And the wizard shop where you go in there, all the shelves are to the side. It's very cool.
It's nice.
They did a really
the
good
theater
job.
has a little taste of that too.
Yeah.
When we enter into the second act, without giving anything away, all of the things that you are available to purchase and experience off stage changes with the show too, and I love that. It's just interactive in a completely different way.
How do you relate to your character?
I love her. She's
Everybody does.
Yeah, but she's a dorky girl who cares about her friends, who also cares about her me time so that she can research the world that she's in. And, she's a know-it-all a little bit, but she bends. She's not strict in what she believes in. And She's also an adventurer. And so when her friends are like, let's go on an adventure, she's right there with them and she's willing to take chances. So yeah, she's easy to love. She's really easy to love.
Have you talked to other Hermiones about the role? Did you watch the movies? Did you have to read the book, or did you just talk to your family and boyfriend?
I read about up to the third book.
Okay.
I'm still making my way through
Okay.
the books. I've spoken to one Hermione, but I'd like to speak to a few of the other ones. And then there's also like 2 swings on the show who are going through it, our journey on the show. I can't help but liken it to like playing one of Shakespeare's like classical heroines or even Hedda Gabler, and it's really cool to check in with other actresses and ask them what they thought about it, like how do they come to the piece and what they choose to do with it. So it feels bigger than just a regular show in that way, which is really nice.
Is it called the timetable that you turn back? Time Turner.
Yeah.
What would you do if you could really experience a time turner?
Oh my gosh, I'd either get into a lot of trouble or I wouldn't touch it at all. I can see myself turning back to the 20s because I want to hang out with Josephine Baker and do all that stuff. Or maybe turn back to like the hippies culture. I don't know if I'd want to stay long. Like there's a lot of things. I would turn back to ancient Egypt just to see what that was like, or turn back to like when Nikola Tesla was around and see if I could get his attention.
This is a Broadway show, and we're back in just a few.
My name is Leslie Odom Jr., and you're watching The Broadway Show right now. You're watching The Broadway Show.
Wicked is iconic, and we've got a brand new vlog celebrating the show at Broadway.com.
Hi, this is Mary-Kate Marcy, and you're watching Positively Emerald on Broadway.com. I'm here with Jordan, the band leader of Oscapella, and we're practicing before the show, so we'll let you into a little bit of it. Somewhere, somewhere. Way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue.
For full episodes of the vlog, head over to Broadway.com. Takes a whole lot of people to keep a Broadway show running, from the stars on stage to the orchestra in the pit and all the people behind the scenes whose names you don't always see in the playbill. Our man Perry is on the town.
Thanks, Tamsin. As they say, props is tops, and Eric Stewart agrees. I'm headed inside the Winter Garden Theater before a performance of Back to the Future to talk to their head of props. So now we are here on the stage of the Winter Garden Theater with the head of props, Eric Stewart. Eric, thank you so much for the time today. I know you're very busy. We got to get going soon.
Yeah, let's do it. We want to show you guys around on what we do for preset for the show.
What exactly does, head of props entail for your workday?
So today on Wednesdays we do a maintenance call in the morning before the matinee. So the whole crew was in at 8 a.m. today, really just doing general maintenance and upkeep. We had a big project on one of the doc's lab units today. For the props department, we worked on some of our 50s benches as they're testing the sound system. We worked on some of our white benches. We worked on our cafeteria tables. Gosh, we did all kinds of little things, putting some hooks up, covering some sinks. We did all kinds of things today.
So it's not just, the show's done, like running and go. There is maintenance and then continued
All
work
kinds
every
of
single
maintenance,
day.
yeah.
Perfect. Well, I know we can hear it happening right now. We're getting ready for showtime. Do you mind if I join you on your walk around?
So first thing we'll do, we'll head this way. So we have a lot of small hand props and not a lot of room, especially on stage left. So we have to get creative. So this vestibule is an active doorway.
Come on in.
Come on through. Come on, Andrew. This is Anthony. He's our electrician for the show. So we have all of our smaller hand props here. Drop bin of small props that we go through that need to track over to stage right. This is some set dressing for the diner. So we will take a couple of things with us then track to the other side of stage that they need over there for our preset. So now we're going back over stage right.
So with the show set in two such distinct time periods, but also, you know, based on a movie that is known and loved, how hard is it to replace or edit things to make them match both the time period and, you know, the source material?
Well, we're doing a lot of shopping on eBay.
Really?
Yeah, for a lot of our 50s and 80s props. This is a vintage 80s camcorder that we've had to repair a few times, which unfortunately has taken a couple falls backstage.
Oh, geez.
In finding replacement of this has been a challenge. We found one in the UK that was shipped over that got held in customs.
Oh, no.
That is now lost to customs. Here we are at the DeLorean.
We made it.
We made it. One of the things that we do is we air up the car. There are pneumatic knives that lock the car into tracks in the floor that are air controlled. So what we do, first thing that Props does is make sure that we have plenty of air in the car to make sure that those knives can come up and down the way that they are supposed to. And don't get stuck. Props, we are in charge of basically all the aesthetics on the car. So anything that looks nice or pretty, we're in charge of. But there's also electrics, because the car lights up. Automation fault is in there too. So it's props, carpentry, and electrics all, and sound. There's speakers in the car as well. When they are ready for the car, we will push the car out.
Well, look, I got to get out of your way. We're out of time, as we like to say. You're a part of this show. You've been so many roles in the industry, but I got to ask you, what does Broadway mean to you?
It's, I mean, this really is kind of the pinnacle of industry. This was where I always wanted to end up working. So the fact that we're here now and have been for the last 10 years has been kind of a dream come true.
Hi, I'm Roger Bartz, and I play Dr. Emmett L. Brown in Back to the Future, the musical. This tune was composed by my friends Glenn Ballard and Alan Silvestri, and it's called For the Dreamers. So this one's for the dreamers, whoever tried to make it. Though very few ever break through, we celebrate them when they do. Lionize them, call them great, ticker tape parade them. But this one's for the dreamers who strive to be a winner, go as far as they can take it, even if they don't quite make it. This one's for the dreamers. Let's hear it for the dreamers who never stop believing. One grain of sand becomes a pearl. A great idea can change the world. They can see what others don't, try things others won't. So this one's for the dreamers who live on inspiration, go as far as they can take it, even if they don't quite make it. This one's for the dreamers, and I know what it's like to be misunderstood, and I know how it feels to be told you're no good, but I couldn't give up. No, I never would. Now people just took advantage of me. My distractions just consumed me. But for everyone that gets it right, thousands more keep up the fight. They burn the fires deep in the night until they lose the light. And most just disappear, and we never hear of them. So this one's for the dreamers who have the guts to risk it, to take a chance on what they think. Can't stare them down, cause they don't blink. Ridicule them, call them out. No one sees what they're about. Yes, this one's for the dreamers whose names we don't remember. They were close, but no cigar, and we don't know who they are. This one's for the dreamers. This one's for the dreamers like me.
And that's going to do it for us. But for tickets, or if you want to check out extended cuts of all these interviews, head over to Broadway.com. I'm Tamsen Fidel, and this is The Broadway Show.